Well, I'd like to thank Dr. Hart for coming to SLU and teaching us this semester. It's been very eye-opening, and I think I come away every class so far with a new way to look at both philosophy and theology. So yes, I have an open-ended question for Dr. Hart. Do you have any advice for grad students studying theology, just in general?
In general?
Or specific?
No, general's good. Get specific. I mean, that requires knowing
We could just talk about
something.
Russians and dogs, too.
Right, yeah, Russians.
Okay.
Well, one thing, and this is actually a good department for this, that I've been urging graduate students who want to do theology for years to do, which is to make sure that they don't attempt to become systematic or philosophical theologians or dogmatic theologians without an actual grounding in the history of doctrine and theology. One of the problems one encounters most often in modern theology in the English-speaking world is theologians who, whatever their brilliance may be, however good they are at constructive thought, quite often write in something of an historical vacuum. They will talk about, say, doctrines, say Trinitarian doctrine, or traditional theological attributions to God, impassibility, and do so with a fairly limited sense of what these doctrines, why they came about, what they mean, or why these classical philosophical definitions of God, say, are what they are and what the actual content is. So, what often happens is you have cases of theologians inadvertently repeating the same arguments that were part of the past, the history, without knowing that they're doing so. So I mean that's always that's the first thing I would say is historical theology should be the groundwork for constructive theology, for systematic theology. And the other thing that immediately occurs to me is to avoid factions. If you want to be a theologian, don't be a Thomist. Don't be a Barthian. Don't be a Paulinite. I chose the Thomists first just to be provocative, but. And especially don't be a specific kind of Thomist, say someone, Emmanuel Thomist, whose Thomas is from the 16th century, for instance. Because what unfortunately often happens is that theologians cease being theologians and become advocates of a particular faction within the history of theology and engage vigorously in internecine combat with other theologians, but their work becomes repetitive, dreary, recognizably derivative, and sometimes a little vitriolic, though I have no grounds on which to complain about. Avoid faction. And one other thing is if you want to be a philosophical theologian, and all theologians should to some degree, make sure you're deeply grounded in a classical and continental tradition. Don't let an American or British faculty corrupt you with purely analytic styles of philosophy. It really will do untold damage to